Yeah, and it was just I think that the pity party thing is a really crazy thing for someone who says that mental health is important. Um, Knowing that he acknowledged that I'm hurt, but didn't feel bad that I was hurt. So yeah. So the use of the word insane, as you can see here, is very common for him. It probably just rolls off the tongue a little too easily. Um, so I have no respect for that.
I just also taught that when he said your multiple comments are harassment,
Oh,
call me crazy, but couldn't he have simply just messaged you respectfully and you probably wouldn't have been? Aren't you messaging because he's blocking you and pretending you don't exist after being intimate with you?
yeah, and I actually didn't even message him anymore because he told me that he didn't think that conversation was productive, and so he was just not going to engage. So, to sit there and say that one, my feelings are unproductive for him and therefore a waste of his time. I was like, okay, so you belittle me that way, and then you're gonna sit here and you're gonna tell me I'm insane because I'm hurt that you're deleting my comments intentionally. You don't want to be called out because of the amount of evidence I have to back up everything that I'm claiming. And then to say that I'm harassing you is actually the wildest part because um, commenting is not harassment, especially when there was no like disclosure that he was uncomfortable with my comments. I mean, he was deleting them, but I don't know. I think to say that I'm harassing him when he knows that I've literally been harassed and violated in the most like the craziest ways was like very belittling of my own experience and trying to make himself the victim.
I would add as well that reading this in isolation, there's like things that are asserted here that like had you only read this, you would think, okay, maybe there's something to what he's saying. Because if you notice, he said we never met in person, never FT, never FaceTime, never were exclusive, and never had any plans to meet up. Now, this to me is crazy because you'll notice this is March 2nd, and this right here is the same text thread, February 11th, where she's literally sending flight options and states, hey, this is the date range. I'm booking a flight for my trip to New York City. Since my friend doesn't have a car, would it at all be possible for you to pick me up on that Wednesday? Totally no worries if you can't. I just thought it'd be worth asking. I could pay you, of course. This is February 11th, to which they are coordinating this on Snapchat. And there's a glitch on Snapchat on February 27th. And thank God for that, because that then leads these two or one glitch happened on February 27th. But after February 11th, she messages, actually, never mind, I booked a flight and it's probably too early for you, but yeah, I'll be in Manhattan these dates. And then on February 27th, says, my Snapchat isn't working, so I can't see the last message you sent. I screenshotted your profile to see if it would send you a message on my end, and it didn't. So I don't know what's up with it. And so on February 27th, and February is the shortest month of the year, so literally that weekend, that's a Thursday. So on Sunday, he soft launches his new girlfriend. And I can personally say, Harry, I have seen your Riz, and there is no way that you managed to woo a woman in a 3 day period. So I'm very confident that you were actively with your girlfriend while you're with these other women. And I think you are lying to suggest otherwise. And so when Harry then on March 2nd says, we never had any plans to meet up. I mean, it's not gaslighting, it's dumb lying when the text messages, because in Snapchat, I guess he's thinking he can delete them. I guess he's thinking in Snapchat they're going to disappear. And I guess he had not bothered to scroll up and see that she had already done that. So I think that's pretty conclusive proof. And for me, these screenshots really put, I don't know, these sort of put context to it that on March 2nd, you were told that the person who you were literally planning to meet up with in New York in a couple of weeks, you are told via a TikTok announcement that he is now intimate with someone else by seeing another woman's hands all over his face in bed. And when Carly had a reaction to that, which is understandable, she then gets called insane and having no reason to be hurt. And so I thought that those were just particularly crazy. But as a result of, again, this comment here that was put on the soft launch video, Carly and Sarah connect around about March 2nd or so. Harry blocks them. Here blocks this comment and blocks Sarah. Did he block you, Carly, on TikTok?
He not on his main account, but on the one that we were commenting on, he did block me. And then his wait, yeah, just his backup.
Complaining about the idea of someone talking to multiple people at one point, but when you're lying about that and when the person finds out about it and you literally discard them, that's what he did. He pretended you didn't exist the moment he found someone else and pretended that you being upset by that was a burden. That then, I'm just going to show this screenshot very quickly. When Carly talked earlier about him saving chats and in Snapchat indicating his interest, this was Harry telling her, "Damn, you're sexy," and her responding, "Psh, stop, don't." And Harry saying, "I would FUCK you raw after wine tasting, but that's just me." The other receipt I wanted to show was that after that March 2nd blocking, and I think rude response by Harry, um, Carly then posts a video, and now multiple other women start realizing, oh, this happened to a lot of us. Some of them had been lied to explicitly, some of them had not been. So they then held a live, and I believe this was March 10th. And if you look at the bottom of that screenshot, that shows Chris Mowry joining the live. And it was Chris joining that live that then led to the reaction videos that you guys may have said. Alina, do you want me to show those videos of how he described the women and how he basically characterized them as schmucksters who were endangering his girlfriend's life, or do we want people to just go find those videos on their own?
It's up to you. If as long as you have it clipped down. I don't want to go through the whole
Yeah, I have it clipped
30
down.
minute live.
No, no,
But
no,
yeah,
no, no, no. I
if you have it
definitely
clipped down, then
have.
let's go ahead and show it. I
Okay,
think
and
yeah.
yeah, and I do want to just say the only reason why I have this clip down is because people have been helping with this, and I just want to say thank you guys for that. I would not have been able to do this otherwise. So 12:58. Let's jump to that. This is a short clip. And I fear this may be a right-wing media person who has posted it, but let's just disregard that. I don't know who it is or not. But this was the boys will be boys comment. This to me was, at least to me, an indication of the disingenuous conduct in the sense that he basically says boys will be boys and then proceeds to say that like that's not okay, but then does exactly that. So let me just play that.
Not that it makes it better if you think, just regardless.
It's going to flip in a moment.
It's just so funny to me.
Those mistakes can often hurt people, and that's why this mistake in particular is wrong. And somebody just said it's quote unquote boys being boys or guys being guys. We first of all don't agree with that principle, but it certainly feels like this action could fall into that category.
We don't believe in boys will be boys as a way of excusing bad behavior, but it feels like we can claim that right now to escape accountability. It's kind of how I heard it, but I think that's just because I am fluent in bullshit. Here are the claims regarding schmoxing till 1510, okay?
Which she wants to keep private is being held over my head. Dirty hoe. My girlfriend's identity, which she wants to keep private, is being held over my head. And just across the board, right? So I think my overall point is that, like, yeah, what I did was regrettable, right? You should just be honest, right? And when you can be.
He's teaching us about honesty, guys.
But having the response being like, we're gonna locate your girlfriend who's private, and we all know like how crazy MAGA is. Like, if MAGA, I don't know if you've seen, like, on Twitter, they've been like taking the pictures of me and my girlfriend in the videos, and they've been posting it with like obscene captions. They've been doing it here on TikTok. We know how crazy MAGA is.
Doxing is never good, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, and there's another clip about the schmoxing allegations, but basically he's making allegations, 1639, making the allegations that the women are schmoxing his girlfriend and therefore putting his girlfriend's life in danger.
Doxing.
Well, we're adults now. We're acting
Gonna
mature
ignore
now.
this
Yes.
person.
People in my personal life are being like dragged into this, and these individuals are getting like doxing, like Harry's girlfriend, spending like all day and all night trying to like essentially trying to like today, Junior.
Guys, just say you're sorry. That's
Okay.
literally what people
And
probably want.
then and I apologize, I'm pretty sure this is a right-wing person, 1839. This part was really gross, in my opinion. This is where I speculate that Harry and Chris had talked offline and that they had talked about the fact we're going to SLUT the women, but hey, Chris, can you do it for me, buddy? Because Chris says, I'm going to go scorched earth. Harry says yes. He then engages in SLUT shaming, and then Harry says, oh, I wasn't going to do that. No, you use your friend to do it.
To protect his privacy.
I was doing it to protect my own privacy, but in hindsight, obviously, there are better ways to protect privacy. I also want to point out, and I'm sorry for engaging here, maybe when I shouldn't. I'm just going to be like straight up honest. Like, multiple of these people were talking to both of us at the same time. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to get upset here. I'm going to go scorched earth. But like, the dishonesty framing here is a little frustrating. Like, the people that you're listening to are saying that, like, again, in these scenarios where we've never met any of these individuals and Harry was leading X, Y, Z, like, we both know that they were talking to both of us at the same time. In fact, I was in the same room getting the same images and stuff while we're now claiming that, like, it's a being led on. I don't want to get into this, but, like, this
But
is,
you
like,
do.
the framing here is unbelievably dishonest. It's dishonest. It is.
So that's some.
Now, I don't know if you noticed the slip up that Chris just made. I mean, I think it's a slip up. Chris just said, we were both in the same room and received the exact same images at the same time. Now, I want to be super clear. The women that they're referring to are not Carly or Sarah. And that was part of their strategy, in my opinion, that Harry and Chris wanted to make it apply to all the women, right? And so that's why they were vague and made it sound like they were talking about all the women. And why they did that was to basically say, why are these women got a problem? They're sharing their bodies with a whole bunch of other men, so what are they complaining about? Well, I don't think they lied, is sort of the big difference, right? And so I don't know if you saw Harry, and unfortunately I don't have the full clip because just before that is where Chris stands up and says, I'm going to go scorched earth. Harry says yes. And as he starts doing that, as Chris starts talking, Harry starts to smile, which to me indicated that he was totally fine with it. Before I go into now the larger part of this, which is going through the messages exchanged between Harry and Sarah, a couple of things I want to do before I do that. Number one, Chris has been going into most of the women's lives so far, which is just weird to me. Chris, I was in one of the women's lives 2 or 3 days ago, and Chris came in, and I was there. I was able to confirm it was his account. It definitely was his account. And he clearly came into the live that the women had on March 10th. And the reason why people are a little bit confused, why is Chris involved in all of this? I can just simply state that, Chris, to the extent you start to harass people or in any way try to intimidate people or in any way try to silence people, Chris, there's receipts on you too. And I think you need to realize that you are just not that important right now. But if you continue trying to make yourself the center of attention, I promise you I will make you the center of attention. And I would recommend that you stand down from trying to protect Harry because you have a vested interest for you to not also be looking stupid. You have to normalize what Harry did so that you yourself don't also look bad. So that's what I would advise. The second thing I do want to point out before I move on as well is I'm taking a very educated guess. Harry was in here on an alt account. And the only reason why I'm saying that is that I have read the messages enough to know what information really would only be known to Harry. And there was someone in here who was sharing information that is only known to Harry on an alt account. And Harry, I think that's a little weird that you're in here in order to try to discredit the women instead of literally doing the easiest possible thing, which is joining and saying, hey, I played you guys, I lied to you guys, that was wrong, and I betrayed my values. I apologize. So I'd recommend you don't do that as well. The thing, though, about what that clip showed is that they didn't, you have to really think about what Chris just said. The women sent us identical schmoods while we were in the same room. It is possible, option A, that once all of this started coming out between March 2nd and March 10th, that they went and figured out who were all the women, figured out whether or not the women had talked to both of them, then talked to each other and described in detail each of the intimate photos, then decided to figure out the timestamps related to those intimate photos, and then decided to go back in time and try to figure out where they were sitting at the time they received those images. That's option A. Option B is that when one of them receives schmoods, they just show them to the other guy when they're in the same physical space. Personally, I think it's a little bit more persuasive that it would be option B, but it's speculative. But I don't know where I was a week ago, so I don't know where the heck I could tell you where I was a month ago. With that said, we're going to now jump into the DMs with Sarah. And the purpose of these DMs is as follows. I think that a lot of people have been concerned about the fact that Harry is selling an image to people that is false. If you are someone who wants to be non-monogamous, if you are someone who wants to talk to multiple people, if you are someone who wants to exchange schmoods, that's fine. You go do you, but be direct about it. And Harry is not being direct about it. And instead, what he's doing is that he is lying online to create an image that makes him seem safe. And that is making women feel as though they are special because he is not the type of person who would engage in this type of activity. And that then leads them to think that because they're special, that anything that is happening between them that is intimate is going to be preserved, is going to be respected. And then he adds to that manipulation by actively lying. And so these messages are being shared in order to let people kind of see who he is, and then also to see the gaslighting, to sort of talk more generally about the type of gaslighting. And as I go through the receipts, I'll share my comments, but Alina, Sarah, Carly, you all should jump in and tell me if I'm like misinterpreting or if I'm over reading or whatever it is I may be doing. So this is Harry on, I think this is Twitter, was it? So this is on Twitter. And in this communication, essentially what Harry is doing here is indicating, hey, is this you? I don't rock with the caption, but the photo, damn, that's quite some riz you have there, Harry. And then Sarah responds, yes, that's me, praying you're impressed. He says he's impressed. They have a couple of back and forths, nothing particularly of note. She then does exactly what she'd said earlier. If you remember, a number of the women had talked about expressing to him how much they respect him and how much his work means to them. And Sarah specifically, I can tell you, was in his lives very regularly, most nights, interacting in the comments. And so this was Sarah reaching out saying, last thing, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for the amount of effort and love you've put into the work you've done. It's meant a lot to me, hence my presence in your lives. Please continue to speak for the truth. And though I don't know you, I'm so proud of all the work you've done, and I hope you run for office one day. He says, thank you very much for your continued support. She says, I have a question about politics, and I feel like if I join a live and ask, I'll be ripped apart. Would you be open to help? Sure, what's up? This is then followed by him saying, sure, what's up? And she says, you know what, I forget. Currently at a competition and I don't remember. November 27th, I'm assuming that she posts a photo on Twitter and tags Harry in it, to which Harry says, so, can I see what you're uploading? And that was, in the context of what the photo, was pretty clearly a request for a schmood. To which she says, I mean, I did tag you, so that's an invite. And then says, if it's not sufficient, I did give you an option to be fair. And Harry says, I want to see more. Now, I don't mean to be mean, but Harry going yesterday, for people who don't know, Harry bragged last night that he's getting canceled for having Riz and basically having game. If you all see any game in any of these screenshots, please identify them for me because I would be curious. I have been looking.
I do
Carly, are
want
you
to
okay?
I do want to point out if he
You're okay,
had
Carly, though? Okay.
game, he would be out in the real world and not talking to his fans. He would be picking up people at his college, at a bar. Yeah, this is like, this is not game.
Someone had another point. I don't know if this is toxic or not, but if he had game, he wouldn't have pissed off all the women that he's talking to. Was an interesting take on it. And so this then leads to this screenshot where she says, well, you'd have to inform me of what you like. To which he says, I like it all. Which to me is just kind of a cowardly way of saying, I don't want to put on record what my schmexual kinks are. She voice messages something. He says, yes, what you just said. And then
I
something
disagree with that. That to me reads as somebody who is very inexperienced
free to
and
keep interrupting at any point.
doesn't know what they like.
I don't
Um,
get DMs from men often, so yeah, please feel free
and
to interpret.
because then he was just like, yeah, whatever it is that you said, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's nothing there. Like, very, I mean, I don't know, maybe the people I've interacted with is different, but like usually men are pretty clear on stuff they like and whatnot, especially if they're trying to get to the point like this.
Yeah, well, no, and he also told several of us like explicitly that he doesn't have many bodies, so we could like gain experience together. Because like I told him that like I don't trust people with my body, blah blah blah. So I just want to make that clear that he is acting like he's got game, but he has told all of us um, that he is not experienced. So he literally said, I don't have many.
Sorry, Carly.
No, go ahead.
I do want to say two things in regards to that. Um, Once the conversation moved from Twitter to texting to Snap, we all received a request for the exact same photo, which Carly has posted about. So if you're curious what that is, but also, I don't want to know. I don't know how much I want to say about things that he's told me, but like he has told me that he is scared of intimacy. And he doesn't approach women. He doesn't, when he's at a bar, he doesn't talk to women. He's always just in the corner by himself. So I was also under the impression that he was just, not someone that does that. So.
I literally, yeah. So I'll flip it on. So a intimate photo was sent, and he says, "Well, what you just said, yes." She says, "That good? Yes, that's very good. How about more?" Now, Alina, you make your argument that this is someone who's inexperienced. To me, this is someone who's overwhelmed, who gets this all the time and just couldn't be bothered and has just no knowledge at all how to talk to a woman. Personally, that's how I read it, because he's not afraid to ask for more. He just doesn't put in any effort whatsoever. call me out if I'm wrong in this stuff. Again, I don't really
I
receive
mean, I
these.
think it could be both.
Yeah, it could be both. That's fair.
A little
Uh,
both.
she then says, "That good," and then he says, "Yeah, that's very good. How about more? Any of you bent over by any chance?" So I guess he has preferences. To which she says, "Well, you want a lot of me sent through Twitter, huh?" To which
How
he
about
says,
more is bananas. That's like asking for a second chocolate chip cookie. Like it's banana.
he,
Like I have no words. Like how about more? Like can I have more orange juice, please, in my little cup?
I'm gonna say this is where like I would say the power thing, which we should talk about later, but definitely talk about, is at play. The power is what allows him to not do anything. He doesn't have to send the schmood. He doesn't have to give riz. He doesn't have to talk. He doesn't have to be respectful. He doesn't have to do anything because he knows that you're going to want to keep doing it regardless, which allows him to just be like this, in my opinion.
I mean, that could be true too. It's like you know, the celebrities where the women are, you know, waiting outside of the venue and like their security guards like, "Hey, you," and they just go through the back and go to the party.
And she says, "You want a lot of me sent through Twitter, huh?" And I think she's indicating like this is intimate stuff you're asking for through a pretty public channel. To which he says, "Where else do you want to send it?" And she says, "Well, your phone, so I'm not leaving it on this." To which he sends his phone.
Hey, Irish, I wasn't sure if you knew, but you're muted.
Sorry, I was gonna say no one can hear you.
I just said some really amazing things and was very funny. I'm so sorry that was missed.
I don't believe that.
At
I
what
was
I
point?
gonna
What
thought
was
say
the last
also.
thing I said?
I thought you were just letting us read it for ourselves.
What
So
was
I
the last
thought we
thing
were
I
just
said?
couldn't tell you.
Really nothing. You just pulled up the
Yeah,
screenshot.
before the screenshot. Yeah.
Okay, so it transferred then over to phone, and Sarah says hi. He says hey. She says the way you text is so funny. I think in reference to the fact that this is he's given nothing to work with. And to which he responds, "What do you mean?" And she says, "You're so dry, it's scary." And I very much understand what that means because he's given nothing to work with. He's asking for photos of Sarah bent over, but at the same time is literally not in any way engaging. He's taking and taking, but not actually doing anything. And here's where he says, "Well, I had to be on Twitter DMs." I don't know if this is overreading it, but to me, when someone, I think Alina, when you said, is one the mask and one is not, to me, this is a little bit indicative that he understands he has to be one way where there's a record and a different way where there's not a record, personally. So he says it's Twitter's. Here it's like whatever, it's just different. She says, "Hey" is crazy because, again, she had just sent something intimate. He says, "Oh, come on, you said hi." And then she said, with a smiley face, maybe throw in a little emoji, get something going. To which I, hey, with a red siren, is that better? And then says, "Actually, yeah, thanks, Dad."
And just to clarify, my thanks dad comment was like that's something like a dad would say. Like, hey,
No,
with
I got that.
okay.
Like
I'm
it's
like,
like
okay, great. Thanks, dad. Like what
my Discord said that they think that in addition to the stuff that we said, the the vagueness it is also or could also be you know, a way of kind of like separating himself from accountability to be like, well, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask for what they sent, you know? Like, yeah, I asked for pictures, but like I didn't ask for that. Like, you know, there's no, I didn't, you know, to kind of keep that purity almost.
On that note, that may explain this screenshot where they're talking and she's saying, you're kind of like not giving me anything to work with. She says, are you like this on the phone? He says, like what? She says, parched, to which he says, I'm still feeling things out. On Snap, I'd be more open. So they've already moved on to the phone, and now he's saying move it over to Snap, but iMessage is more permanent, which again to me is giving the indication of the mask changing based upon where it is you're going. To which she says, I'll add you on Snap. Then he says, I could be more open there, but that's up to you. And then she says, well, I clearly want to be more open, so I just added you. And then says, what's your user? The screenshots I'll flip to, and then I'll come back to other ones, which is the sort of, and there's intimate stuff being shared. Let me be super, super clear. There was no intimate stuff of Harry, literally nothing. And so there was no disclosure of anything private pertaining to Harry whatsoever. And there will be none. And so I don't want anyone trying to run with that narrative whatsoever. Just give me 1 second. So we're going to jump to December 19th. And December 19th, let me just get it. Give me 1 moment. I apologize. Okay, there it is. So just before. So I think it is this one. Great. So December 19th, he had not like messaged in like a week and a half, to which he says, hey, beautiful, here now. She says, beautiful, I'm shocked. He says, why are you shocked? Because we haven't spoken in 2 weeks, weirdo. He then says, well, I can call you friend if you'd prefer. No, I'd prefer beautiful. Keep up the good work. Okay, noted. Anything else you'd like to call me? I think I have some other things in mind. Share. Conversation continues. I think I have an idea. No, I don't think so. And here's where she's making clear you're really not giving me anything to work with here. You liking the idea of me making you jealous, not responding to my shit because you're annoying. To which he says, wow, seems like you just like me so much. She says, just so obsessed. Some positive things to say. And then she says, can tell words of affirmation is not your love language, which to me is clearly indicating, can you stop giving yes or no answers, giving the intimate nature of what's being exchanged? What do you think my love language is? He says, probably quality time or physical touch. He says, I think it's touch. Then she talks about meeting up in New York. Then we're going to flip to just more evidence of the content being exchanged. This is again him asking for something and asking for it to be a surprise. And this is the important conversation regarding the roster. And we are obviously skipping anything that is like overly intimate in nature, but you can assume that there's been a number of intimate discussions between them exchanged at this point. Here, Sarah talks about another creator who she had been with. And she talks about how that creator, that it was just schmexual because they have a girlfriend, which isn't really what she's looking for, but I guess it's fun. Meaning Sarah, I think, is pretty clearly indicating
Just
that I'm
also,
interested.
to be clear, that person is in an open relationship. Just to be clear.
Yeah, very much an
Okay.
open relationship. Yeah. And then she says, which is why I asked you what you are looking for. To which Harry said, did I answer the question? Which to me is just, okay, I genuinely don't recall. To which she says, too many girls, I get it, meaning you're not remembering the question and remembering that you're evading it. You said you didn't know. To which he says, oh, please, there's no roster over here. To which she said, and at this point, he's actively managing a quote unquote roster of multiple people. To which, to me, this is important. Sarah has intuition and is not keeping it to herself, is literally expressing the intuition so he has an out. you're just lying about not having a roster. This is pretty clear. Hey, this is your out. To which he says, oh, please, it's not a lie. And then her intuition again is saying, well, you flex your Snap on Snap a lot. To which he says, no, 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 I just post content on Snap, so I promote it like any other platform. While at the same time, obviously using Snap to talk to, if not all the other women, the majority of the women. Conversations continue. She then says, well, you and Chris joke around a lot, so it's hard to tell. And he again says, what do you mean, playing dumb? She says, he makes it seem like you do. He says, I don't see it, as in I don't know what you're talking about. And she adds again, someone even thought you had a girlfriend the other day. Weirdo, it's not just me. To which his response is, that's a strange moment, I can't lie. So here is like 4 different outs that he's been handed, and 4 different times he's just affirmatively lying. And then she just says, okay, so what do you want? Because we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now. And his response is, so what do you want? His response is, not even I don't know, but to me, just literally using the acronym was extra dismissive. To which she says, very informative, thank you. To which he says, of course, I can't really provide more of an answer because I don't know. I mean, he did know. He wanted schmoods. It's really not that complicated.
Sarah, can I ask you, should he have come clean at any point?
Yeah, for
What
sure.
would happen? What would have happened? Like, would you still have, responded to that soft launch video in the same way? Would we be here right now necessarily, or would things have been different?
I think if he had just been honest about the fact that he was seeing other people, I don't know. I just think that the soft launch video after all of that was when I gave him so many outs to just tell me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I think after all of that, I don't think there was like going back from that, coming back from that, if that makes sense. Like I gave you so many outs and you continued to choose to lie over and over and over and over. And then
Yeah,
the soft launch, if that makes sense.
yeah, and I appreciate that response. I just want to, highlight for people that are watching, that, he had opportunity
as well, and you guys didn't allow him to intimidate you, basically. So I wanted to acknowledge that first and foremost. Listen, my DMs are open if both of you want to talk about it. Just know that I'm here for you. With regards to what we just witnessed, I think this is a perfect example of activism without integrity. It's very performative, and I am incredibly disappointed. I know that a lot of people might think, oh, well, he's just young. Young people make mistakes. Boys will be boys. He just has a roster. So what everybody else does. I think the issue here is the lack of honesty. Had he been very honest and told everybody that he is getting to know or talk to multiple people, I don't think anybody would have had an issue with it. But the fact that he led on multiple women and did not care about the potential of hurting multiple women because they might have fallen for him, they might have invested so much time and effort and emotions in him, thinking that that he was only talking to them. So I think this also is rooted in the dehumanization and devaluation of women that men, especially when they're young or at whatever age, think that women are just objects of entertainment, to be used and then discarded. So I think it is much, much more serious than some people are making it out to be, especially coming from two people who say that they disagree with the patriarchy, disagree with misogyny, but continue upholding the very same systems that they supposedly fight against. So thank you guys for coming forward and shining a light or illustrating their performative activism. And yeah, I think this is a very serious matter.
Also, I just want to thank all of you guys, like Athena, Kristen, like everyone in here. I respect all of you so much. I'm genuinely like a fan of all of you guys, and I think you're brilliant. So the fact that you guys care, and I said this to Alina earlier, like the fact that anyone cares, but especially like creators that I like look up to and enjoy watching and I know are like brilliant and intelligent, the fact that you guys can see the wrong in the situation is very validating, and I appreciate it like more than you guys know, for real.
So they love y'all, and I made sure to follow you both. And I'm sorry we had to meet under these circumstances, but particularly Sarah feels very Christian coded, so I want to adopt you as my little sister.
The Discord thinks you could be
Literally.
the Discord thinks you could be Kristen's daughter.
And Carly,
Kristen and I are the
specifically
same
you,
person for sure.
I think a lot of us in the Discord as well, Carly, really felt the exploitation of your essay. And I just wanted to personally apologize so deeply for that very particular pointed way he manipulated you, and the rage that we all have and the love that we all have for you right now. It is not going to be something that we're going to let them get away with this. I promise you that.
Kristen, I don't know if you want to touch on like, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if you want to touch on like, you know, how people, I don't want to say the P word, but people that display predatory behavior choose victims. Like,
Absolutely. I think we've seen this in trauma cycles, but even furthermore, when we talk about the patriarchy and misogynistic behavior and power dynamics of toxic masculinity, we very much see that men who understand how to exploit vulnerabilities, and specifically when they have that vulnerability in a case of SA, they will use that to re-victimize. And we see this even statistics of SA victims being multiply harmed. I don't want to speak too closely to it because, of course, I don't want to put you out there on this particular platform for talking about that in depth. But we do know that the left is specifically, we expect predators on the right. We know they're wolves, but to see the kind of wolf in sheep's clothing that the left specifically really invites in, there's no way that we can tell people to protect themselves against that, because it's manipulation. It's deeply, profoundly sickening to see that they will use that to really prey on people. And I'm very sorry that happened, because it's not something that's new, but it is something that's always traumatizing.
And I do want to say too, like that was the first thing I said to Carly when she first opened up to me about her story and told me about how they met. I was so disgusted that that was how that progressed for her. And Carly, I know you've said in lives before, like you added him on Snap, and it was, you had just opened up about your essay, and then he started like saving your photos, and it was just like he kind of, I guess, knew and took advantage of that, the fact that you were a fan, the fact that you were vulnerable, in my opinion. And I think that that was like, going off of what Kristen said, that was one of the things that like genuinely disgusted me the most, and one of the main reasons I wanted to like speak out, because I was like, that's disgusting.
I do want to ask if you guys got I'm sorry, Kobe, but I want to, because I don't remember if we touched on this, but I think it would be valuable for the audience, is did they get consent to save, like, did he get consent to save these photos prior to?
He never asked, he just started doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, same. On Snap,
Noted
yeah.
that permanence as well of using iChat as opposed to Snapchat. I think that was very, very clear that he was looking to not have them consent.
Share them. I mean, he didn't have consent to save them. Didn't have consent to share them, because that is something that was implied, that there were some nudes that was shared between them. I wanted to touch up on like the power dynamics as well, which I find incredibly unethical. I think a person like Harry or any creator should know that if you have a bigger platform, the very act of engaging with a quote unquote fan or follower, in my opinion, is unethical. Because that power dynamic is going to exist in the first place. You are abusing said power dynamic too. And to also then lie to that person and tell them that, oh, you're only interested in them, in my opinion, that person could be starstruck, like, oh my gosh, this person that I follow, this person that I watch on live on a regular basis is interested only in me. And like that in itself is just unethical, in my opinion. So Carly, I am incredibly sorry that was done to you as well, that was said to you. It's disgusting. And with regards to the live, I don't even know. Like, that is awful. So yeah.
I just want to point out that Chris is in the request
Yeah,
right now.
that's what I was about to say. So if you'd like me to drop, if you guys still want to talk to him, please let us know.
I do just want to point, as Chris is coming up, again, I think part of this is just pointing out like the bad tactics that are engaged in. The whole boys will be boys thing, the whole boys will protect boys thing. Chris, again, was the one who was doing reconnaissance by listening in on the lives of the other people. Chris is the one who was validating the idea that they were lunatics. Chris was the one who decided to go scorched earth. And Chris is the one who's in here right now, not Harry, even though, correct me if I'm wrong, Carly and Sarah, neither of you two had any such communications with Chris, correct?
That statement is incorrect, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk mainly because I understand from earlier in this live, first of all, earlier in this live, and from what I understand now, I'm just going to bite this bullet because it's really, I think it hurts. First of all, I want to say for this entire live, because I know there's a lot of people here that are hurt, and there's a lot of conversations that need to be had. And I'm sorry that people are hurt, and I agree that those conversations need to be had. I understand, Irish, that you're up here doing whatever you're doing, and you supposedly have screenshots of me that have floated around a Discord of me cheating on my ex-girlfriend. The reason I got up here to talk to you, and I'm airing this in front of 1.3 thousand people.
How about you and I, if you have a problem with me,
No, please let me speak, please. No, I'm begging you to let me speak. I'm begging you. Because I've heard this twice now on the live, right? I dated a girl for over roughly-ish 5 years.
This isn't related to me and Sarah.
No, I understand.
Hang on. This is literally not related to what we're talking about, Chris. If you want me to go live right now myself, I'll go live right now.
I'm more than happy. Hold
Does this
on.
have anything to do with Carly,
Yes,
Sarah,
it will.
and/or
It
Harry?
will, but it will. But I would like to address one thing first for my sake.
The answer is no.
Wow. Okay. So
Can I ask real quick, just real quick, Carly and Sarah, are you okay with Chris centering himself at the moment?
I just hold on, Carly and Sarah,
You
please,
are.
please, I understand. If you could just give me 20, it's really Carly and Sarah or anyone else. If you have any faith in me, could you just give me like 30 seconds? Because
Chris, I don't know if I have faith in you. To be
I understand that. I understand that. But this is
You called me insane on fucking live.
Can I just speak for more than 30 seconds? Please.
And then also you said where I live.
I'm begging.
I'm just not sure why anyone should have any faith in you.
Okay, and I understand, and I understand that, but I want to just say one thing briefly so I can get it out of the way, and then we can talk about this, okay? Please. Because this actually doesn't relate to me. It has nothing to do with me. It's actually about another woman, right? That I deeply care about, okay? I dated
Literally no screenshots of a compromising
Irish. Can I please speak?
Sure. Did you hear what I just said, though?
Yes, I'm going to.
Okay, so continue.
The screenshots that you're referring to, and we can talk about this in the entire sense of the word, is screenshots that have floated around in Discord about me cheating on a girlfriend that I had for roughly 5 years. Part of the problem, I think, with these conversations online is that we're taking out a lot of, obviously, how do I phrase this? The screenshots that my understanding that were going to be released up here, I have a lot of respect for my ex-girlfriend, and she has a lot of respect for me. And she's been through a lot of really hard mental health things, and we solved a lot of the really hard things about our relationship in private, and people are now taking that and misconstruing it. She's actually spoken publicly and said that, quote, Chris didn't cheat on me, but because of this conversation and the screenshots that are being shared, she's being dragged back into it after she's worked really, really hard. I don't talk to her anymore, but my understanding is that she's worked really, really hard to help her mental health after going through a lot of really hard things. And so again,
it's horrible. That's really horrible.
Yeah, I know it's horrible, right? And you're part
what
of it.
does that
Actively
have to do with this live?
Yeah, no one was going to share anything.
Yeah, that's a lie. I know that to be a lie. You're lying, and that's fine.
Like we're not.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Fantastic.
Hold on. You're gonna call me a liar? You don't even fucking. First off, you don't even fucking know me.
I do know you, and I know Irish. I know both of you. I know Irish has the screenshots. That's what he was gonna release, right? I'm not dumb, right? We know these things now. Back to the if you want to.
You are actually dumb because
fantastic.
I had the entire outline of what was going to go on today.
Okay,
and
fantastic.
there was nothing about you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Right.
So I don't know why you're censoring
fantastic.
yourself.
Now that it's over, we can talk about the actual issue here.
But in the
also
other
people like you having a platform is the actual issue here.
Why?
Irish was gonna
because
leave
people like you should not be leading anything on the left. And if you allegedly know who I am and what I stand for, people like you that have never suffered anything, any sort of marginalization, should not be talking about marginalized groups. You want to come up here? You want the smoke? Here you have it. Okay, you came here to center yourself. You're doing exactly what every cis-het white man does on this app. Okay? Yes, okay. Little boy.
I came on here. I came on here in a desperate
to center yourself.
Can I speak?
No, you came on here to center yourself.
No,
this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to be put in your place. How's that feel?
Can I?
Chris, can I ask you a question, Chris?
Oh, if you don't mind, Irish, I actually got to drop down, and Chris, just hold on a second. Thank you. I've got to drop down. Thank you, Carly and Sarah, for sharing your story. Thank you, Alina, for hosting this, especially for as long as you did. Sorry to any friendlies that I may have muted in the comments. If you said anything that was slightly insensitive, I did mute immediately, and I gave everybody fair warning before I did. I said it multiple times in the comments. If you say anything insensitive, you get muted. So sorry, not sorry. Careful what you say before you type it out. I did shoot both y'all a follow, and be sure to definitely come and hang out with Alina. Alina needs to be having this number of viewers on a nightly basis. I don't understand why we are now getting 1.9 thousand. Really? 1,900 viewers now? What, because
we'll be
Chris
here,
is
trust
here?
Me.
No, sorry, not sorry, but, and guys, be sure to subscribe. I'm not even kidding. Alina does this on a daily basis.
Not you modding.
And she's awesome. See what?
And we do it for the kittens.
Do it for the kittens. Yep, that's right. And check out the links in her bio because she does foster.
I have a genuine.
Did you have a question for me?
Yeah, I have a genuine question
Wait,
for Chris.
quick.
What about this live was
Yeah,
about
so
you?
so that's actually what I was gonna reference the host to. Again, like, but like I know that like we're all just like online in front of 2,000 people, but there's like my understanding of, again, and I you guys can say whatever you want to say, that's fine. But Irish was making threats about releasing screenshots that I think would do serious damage to somebody I care a lot about and who
Wait,
is
can I
just being
talk about
dragged
that,
into this.
Chris?
No, wait.
Sure,
Like,
go ahead.
quickly. Again, to the host point, wasn't in. I don't like. You think I'm, you think I'm up here because I like am trying to like win some PR battle? Obviously, this isn't doing nothing good for me.
Oh
It's
no,
just,
sweetheart. Like
yeah.
if you actually had a PR if you actually had a PR team, like this would have
I,
handled so differently. And I
I,
highly recommend
I,
that you guys consult a PR team before
okay.
you continue this platform in
I,
any form.
I understand, but I'm just telling you.
Hit a palette.
I'm just telling you the only reason that I'm up here is because screenshots were going to be shared that I think were really false and damaging to another woman that I care about a lot, who's being dragged into this by the internet, by these platforms, and she doesn't deserve it.
Great. So can I respond to that?
Also, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Great. So your concern is that I am in possession of personal material.
What
that could be
screenshots were you in
harmful.
possession of? What screenshots were you in possession of that were mine?
I was patient, if you could do the same courtesy.
Well, I also think it's just generally abusive to be sharing so much private information
Oh.
around.
I can
That's
help
a
you. I can
wild
help you.
use
I
of
can
that
help
word.
you be quiet. So
Alina, just quick,
what?
I have to join back on my phone. I'm gonna drop and join
Sure.
on my phone.
Okay, I'll leave this spot open for you.
So your concern is that I would be sharing information that is personal in nature that could be harmful to women, and you want to protect
to a woman I care about that
Yeah, I
is
understand.
directly related to me.
I understand. My question for you is why do you only care about the women who can do something for you and not the women who you shit upon when you went live
So-
and you talked about, I'm sorry, you seem to have your mouth open while mine is. Just wait one moment, sweetheart. Yeah. So I'm just a little confused. Why are you up here performatively the same way Harry was? Harry was saying, these women are crazy lunatics who are endangering my girlfriend by schmuxing them, and showed a lot of concern for his person at that time while being disrespectful to a whole bunch of other women. And now you seem to be up here saying, I got to protect mine, yet you had no problem shitting on a whole bunch of other women who you are not personally invested in. Can you just explain that contradiction?
Sure. So a couple things. You asked, like, I came up here and you asked me specifically to stay on topic, and then I said I was going to get off topic because I needed to address like something, and you all of you actively said that you didn't want to hear from me. You wanted to hear from Harry, right? So I came up here with my vested interest around the woman who is being dragged into this, who has worked on her mental health a lot, and screenshots that were going to be shared that I didn't think were appropriate to share. I didn't say, and that is unrelated to the topic you're bringing up about why I think it's
What was the
acceptable to
question I
text
asked
on
you,
Harry.
Chris? I feel like you didn't hear it.
Hold on. You asked me why I'm doing something in why I'm coming up here trying to do something when a woman has a vested interest, or I have a vested interest.
I'm gonna mute you because you didn't hear my question. I'll ask again. It seems kind of disingenuous and performative and kind of selfish that you're up here claiming that you're here to protect the mental health and reputation of one woman, while you
calling me a
also
liar.
held a live where you accused, and because you did it vaguely, you accused a dozen women of you saying that you're going to go scorched earth and decide to tell everyone that they're sending nudes to multiple people. And I'm just curious, is it only the women you're sleeping with whose mental health you care about? Or is it women's mental health in general that you care about?
I'm not, first of all, I think that
You understand the question, though?
Yeah, I do, if you let me speak.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So again, I don't think that like this dialogue is particularly productive, number one.
Oh, I agree. You could have
you
DM'd
joined
me,
up.
right, Chris?
Yeah, you joined up.
Did you
and
DM me,
chose
Chris?
to center yourself. Nobody was talking about you.
No, because I'm not, I understand.
Did you DM me privately to ask what I was going to do, what I had, to express any concerns?
I'm more, can I just try to answer?
I'm not, just for the record, did you
like,
DM me at any point?
No, because I heard on live you say out loud twice that you were prepared to release screenshots, so I'm here.
If you continued
Right. So I'm not
talking
going to
about these
take.
women,
So
and
again,
if
I'm
you
not going to. I
continued
like.
on,
Again, I'm not going to take like. I'm not going to accept somebody else in my life being dragged into something that doesn't have anything to do with them because of veiled
You'd no
threats on the
problem
internet.
dragging in other women to protect yourself.
Irish. Can you take any accountability for the fact that
oh
I'm
my
just
God.
simply up here?
I'm not talking about accountability. We're not doing it.
Can I say one thing to Chris?
No, I think that this again. I really think that this dialogue is
no,
unproductive.
that's not how
Then
this
you
works,
can leave.
friend.
The dialogue that you created.
My issue with
You're not engaging on my dialogue.
Chris, I'm speaking, right? So my issue is that I've had conversations with you about my mental health, my sobriety, my depression, right? So why are you up here saying that someone else's mental health that you care about is being dragged into it when I'm being posted on the New York Post claimed as a self-proclaimed domestic abuse survivor? Like, you don't care about mental health.
Wait, whoa. I'm not, hold on.
Wait, who told you to unmute?
She asked me a question?
She wasn't done.
You just don't care. And to Irish's point, like, it's not, you don't care about women in general. You just care about specific people that you care about. So don't come up here and be like, this one person that I care about, their emotions, their feelings. Do you know how many people have been, like, me, Carly, personally posted on so many different, like, sites, articles? Do you know how much that affects my mental health?
Yes, and I'm deeply sorry. I am. I'm sorry that's happening. I understand what you're saying, and genuinely, from a mental health perspective, I can only imagine that that is incredibly difficult. I don't like the assumption that Sorry, I got a phone call. I don't like the assumption that I don't care. I'm not, you're asking me, like, sorry, I'm like frozen. The relation to you and other people being posted in the New York Post and this whole thing happening is entirely separate from Irish. Just for a second, let me finish. From my understanding that screenshots were going to be leaked, relating to my ex-girlfriend, and I really felt like, because of all the things, because of our personal relationship that we already settled, she didn't deserve to be dragged into that. I'm not trying to come up here and say that that is more valid than any of the things that anyone else up here is going through. I'm just saying that I felt like the best way to get a handle on that was to just come up here and flat out say it.
So
Did you think about just DMing me?
Irish.
No, I
You
didn't.
were not, this entire live is talking about your best friend's behavior and how shit it is to women. And you know that, and you backed that up. You fully sat there.
I haven't said anything.
And then tells us not to run because I said I am not going to sit here and have my identity shit on once again by someone who's not involved in my story.
Carly, I'm more than that. These discussions are obviously going to continue. I want to be clear. I got up on this live because I think essentially extorting me by leveraging compromising photos relating to my life by Irish in his group,
words you
I
don't
thought
understand.
was
Get
fucked up.
off the
No,
list.
I actually don't. And number two, Carly, I said, Carly, that's number one. Number two,
My name's
I said, don't run because you said that you were uncomfortable with me being up here because I knew what state you lived in, and I didn't feel like that was really fair to, how, I don't
You
think
said
that's
the state I live in, actually. It's not that
you
know it.
you DM'd me telling me where you
No,
are.
but you said it on
Hang
live.
on, wait,
I'm
I'm sorry, can I
gonna
interrupt
pause this for a
Can I
second,
interrupt for a
guys,
moment?
because
Just for one
I think
Can I just interrupt for just one moment?
Where you live.
Can I just
I have
interrupt
the
for
video
just
of
one
that.
moment? I just want to interrupt for just one moment.
Damn it,
Chris
Irish.
is now under.
We
So
don't
disingenuous
censor
and
men
absurd.
here. We
So
don't censor
disingenuous
men.
and
Why are we
absurd.
doing this?
So disingenuous and absurd.
Chris, you
So
sound
disingenuous.
stupid. You
I didn't want to be
literally
leveraged for compromising.
I have a screen recording, Chris.
I didn't want to be compromised for leverage. I didn't want to be leveraged for compromising photos. I think that's-
I'm sorry. I've been quiet this whole time. Instead of reckoning with your own role in sharing nudes or choosing to cause harm, you are choosing to center yourself, play victim, and uphold the same misogyny that allowed this whole harm to happen in the first place. This is a master class in hypocrisy, and it's not integrity. Respectfully, you came up on this panel to victimize yourself, which is why it is incredibly harmful for cishet white men to have such a huge platform like you, because you are reckless. No, I'm not done. You are reckless. You are reckless. and it's showing right now that you are reckless. You have not done the actual due diligence of deconstructing your internalized racism, your internalized misogyny, all these other isms that have continued to benefit you. Instead, you have chosen to prop yourself up as this hero of marginalized people, and now we are looking at, like, look at the result of it. You are literally reckless. You came up here, instead of holding yourself accountable, decided to center yourself, play victim, scream and rant and talk over all the women here. Boys will be boys, right, Chris?
And
Boys will be boys, right?
You've actually put your ex in more harm by coming up here and centering yourself, because I had no idea that any of this was a thing. And now you've said it to 2,000 people.
So a couple things. I understand what you're saying. Being misled by Harry does not excuse what you're currently doing, which is extorting me by leveraging compromising photos and pictures of my ex-girlfriend in a situation that you don't understand. That's why I'm here.
I'm gonna
Right? Very simple.
Say that we're not doing
Very
that.
simple.
Somebody did that
Very
here.
simple. Right? Irish did it. It's been done in Discord.
It's one thing if you're talking about Irish, but I don't want all of the women to get heat on
Yes,
this.
you're maligning the women
I
again.
understand. So
That's
fantastic. Then I'm going to leave. Irish said on live 2 days ago he had the photos of me quote unquote cheating. He said that 2 days ago. He's lying out of his mouth. I have the screen recording. I didn't want to get into this. I'm just begging you not to drag other people in my relationship and fucking have, again, on live, be threatening, exposing these photos that you don't understand, dragging somebody in who's been through hell. We're in a good place, me and her. And Irish said he was going to do it. It's not about, okay, fantastic.
You're doing that now in front of 2.4 people.
Message Irish. If you really have that big of a problem with it, message Irish. This entire live, nothing was about you. And you came in here and a group full of women talking about their experience with your best friend that you back up and you sat next to in a live and defended. And then you're going to come in this live and make this about you.
He's doing it here. If you actually genuinely care about this person, you would not have talked about them. He's gone, by the way. That's why he's probably like, the screen is on teacup. But if this person actually cared about her, he would not have brought her up in front of 2.5K people. Right. You bringing her up right now in front of 2.5K people is actually putting her in more danger. So you don't actually genuinely care about her.
They reported Irish.
Of course they did.
Athena, I just want to say that's the perfect example of what Harry did when he said we were doxing his girlfriend. They come up and they try to say that we're harming other women when we have nothing to do with that.
No, and they do that in order to discredit us and make themselves the victim in this. And then notice how he goes, I understand that being led on is bad. You tell me you don't understand it, even though you watch every single one of our lives and all of our fucking videos, and you still don't get the goddamn point.
He's embarrassing, bro.
This was so performative for him.
He was embarrass himself. I'm gonna be so fucking honest.
Yeah. And I don't appreciate being called a liar. I really don't.
Well, those guys are liars, so.
Guns blazing because he thought he was gonna but he left crumbs. Like, you didn't do anything.
Kenzie and Kiara, do you guys want to say anything? Because I'm gonna have to end soon because of the flag.
Fine. Sarah, if you would follow me back, I can message you later. Thank you.
I'm gonna follow you. I thought I already followed.
And I am sorry to center it for a second. Chris, you're welcome to DM me. I would never share any information that I think would hurt someone or that is in any way inaccurate. And I've not done that today. I've not done that before. Your concerns are very much unfounded and should just be addressed by you DMing me. It's that simple. I followed you. You're able to respond.
I also do want to clarify, that I was being truthful about the fact that Irish and I had a conversation. He ran everything by me of what was going to be shared. There are things that he asked how I felt about it being shared on my platform. So there was never going to be a situation where something was going to be shared that I did not consent to or know about. So I don't appreciate being called a liar. And I believe everything was also, as far as I saw, shared with the two women on the panel. So step by step. So I I don't appreciate those accusations.
And
Hi,
I hope you don't
Kenzie.
take anything like that.
Hi,
Like,
thank you.
I'm sure you probably don't, but sorry, Kenzie. I just hope you don't take anything like that to heart because clearly he was coming up here just to say whatever he could. So him calling you a liar was just probably the first word that his like tiny brain could think of. Anyways, I'll be quiet.
We have one more female creator that I do trust on here who's asked to come up several times to talk to Sarah and Carly, if that's okay with you.
Yep, you can let them up. We just can't stay on too long because I don't want to get banned.
Thank you.
And I do want Kenzie to speak because Kenzie's keeps getting interrupted.
It's okay. There's two things that I wanted to talk about. I really don't think Sarah and Carly are given enough credit in terms of like the bravery and strength it really takes to be outspoken and to put your face on camera, because you're only subject to criticism, to your behavior and your messages being highly critiqued, and then to vitriol. So it really, I think it's really powerful to do, because then other women see it, even women who might not have the strength or the interest in speaking up about it. But it puts light where originally there were shadows. And I think, based on a lot of what I've heard today, that this is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. We have two women who were very heavily, were manipulated in a very strategic way for someone to get access to sexually explicit material. And even with that coming some action of reciprocity, I want to, he still engaged in behavior that was really harmful for them. Like Sarah saying, he was very jealous. I believe Carly said that as well, which adds a different layer of emotion. And then I want you to imagine what kind of behavior he would have for women who said no or who set other boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, if you're done, Kenzie, I think that something important to add is that those kind of attitudes are contributing to grape culture, and even if we can understand that there are certain degrees, we shouldn't accept any of it. The foundation is built within society if we normalize behavior that exploits women and girls. And if we think that in any way, shape, or form it is acceptable to manipulate somebody into not giving their full informed consent.
Exactly. And when women do say no, like what kind of aggression or further manipulation they will be met with, in terms of being felt guilty, being shamed, being emotionally further manipulated. And like I said, I think right now we just kind of have the surface of the iceberg, but there's a whole lot more underneath. I think Carly, you said you began speaking to him like 14 months ago. Is that right?
Was at this point 10.
10. So, I mean, 10 months is a long time. And I'm just wondering like how many other interactions there have been over this time span. For me to think that this is the first time seems very nonsensical. So even if you think what has happened, like I absolutely think is a big deal, and it's not, and you think it's not, I guarantee you there's a lot more that we aren't seeing.
I just want to say you're correct. And there are several women that I know of that didn't want to be included in the group that I had put together via text and then Snapchat eventually. But I know of 17.
Real quick, I'm so sorry, Kenzie. I just, before, because I know we have limited time, y'all, Alina did a lot of work to put this together for us. Can we just meet her gift goal before we have to log off?
Yeah, please. Show so much love.
And then just to kind of close off that topic, I just want to say, like, the amount of manipulation and action it takes to successfully complete this, like he portrays himself as nice, as considerate, as caring, and it's the exact opposite. I mean, to have that mask on for so many people for so long is extremely dangerous. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on really quick, does anyone know if Chris has called out Harry or
No, the last thing that he said about Harry was when he was with Harry and he was defending him. So
Okay, so I do think it's interesting that he has the opportunity and the
Oh my
platform.
gosh.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
that's
Sorry.
amazing. It's really pretty.
It'll go to the foster cats.
God, what is the word? I can't think of the word right now. He has the platform and the opportunity to completely invalidate and not condone Harry's behavior, and he has not done so. In fact, he's reaffirmed and confirmed it, almost acting like an accomplice. And I do think everyone was really touching on it before. A lot of men act like they're protectors of women and they care about women, but then it boils down to just women I get things from. I understand this was his ex-girlfriend, but obviously there was a loving and sexual relationship. So because he gets something from it, that's why he'll stand up for her. But yet other women who give him nothing, that just doesn't register. So that was the two things I wanted to say. Thank you for having me on, and really so proud of you girls. I can't imagine the mental and emotional drain that you feel since this has all come out. Bravo.
thanked you so many times, but really thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Lindsay.
Thank you. Can I also say final words before I drop Alina? Yeah, thank you, Alina, for hosting this live. Genuinely, thank you for using your platform to amplify these voices. Carly and Sarah, I appreciate y'all as well for coming forward. Before I drop, there are 1.5K people. I just wanted to say couple things before I drop. True leadership in like any movement is not necessarily self-appointed. It's nor is it earned like through mere proclamations of allyship. I think time and time again we like see cishet white men elevated as these voices of progress simply because they say the right words while those with lived experiences are actively sidelined. A real commitment to dismantling like racism and misogyny and other systems of oppression requires much more than just a performance. It demands accountability, it demands humility, it demands integrity and willingness to cede space. A movement cannot thrive if its leadership actively replicates the very hierarchies it claims to resist. And I need people to stop proclaiming cishet white men as leaders just because they simply say W feminism, W BLM. Like if cishet white men are not actively deconstructing all of their internalized isms, the same isms that they benefit from, I don't understand why they're being like pushed forward as like voices of progress when we know
And I don't
benefit
think that
from the status
deconstruction can
quo.
happen behind a camera, like in front of a camera.
Yes. No, I don't. And like Chris and Harry in general, this is going to be my final thing, have been incredibly reckless. Get yourselves a PR team, get yourselves some kind of management because y'all have been actively reckless. And what this has shown and proven is that they haven't genuinely done the work, and their activism was activism without integrity. It was performative. It was clout chasing. That's what I'm going to say. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for coming forward, and thank you, Alina, for hosting this.
Thank you, Athena. It was so nice to meet you.
I just want to say that Carly and Sarah, thank you for your bravery for even coming out, because men with that platform, they have a huge responsibility of practicing what they preach. And those two men, specifically Harry and Chris, they do not practice what they preach. what makes me very sick is the fact that Chris has mentioned something when he was speaking with Harry on the live, or speaking for Harry on the live, that they were both in the same room getting the same pictures from the same women. And I find that very sickening because, number one, how do you know that they were the same images? Number two, that just shows me you're engaging in locker room talk, and that's infuriating, that's disgusting, that's shameful, that's humiliating, that's disgraceful. It just shows your own character too. You bit yourself in the foot. And not only that, it's about informed consent. None of these women would have consented to sending you images if they didn't know that you were not serious and that there were other women that you were getting pictures from. That's the other issue at hand. So I'm so sorry, but you guys are brave, and I'm so proud of y'all and for even bringing awareness to this, because people like that should not have a platform. And thank you, Elena, for also, having this live tonight. It was
I wanted to say thank you for one, like telling us that we're brave, but I wanted to thank everybody on here right now and the women that have dropped down as well. And I want to say that I think you're also very brave for choosing to hear out two of us who might be perceived as nobodies, whereas it would have been so easy to just side with these big platformed people. And I have said like the same thing, not directly to
I could
Parker.
never. I could never.
No,
No support a cishet white man? Never.
it just means a lot, especially because I've been getting literally so much hate. And a lot of that stems from the fact that people don't understand like the issue, and to see all these intelligent people up here tell me that like I'm not insane or dramatic or any of this stuff really, really goes a long way, and I'm probably gonna cry myself to sleep.
No, I will cry after I get off this live.
Well, you're welcome here anytime for sure. And I want to thank you guys for coming forward and having the strength. Because even though there are people that haven't wanted to come forward, I just want you to know that someone in my community, a goon, was also one of the people. And even though they don't want to share their story, you all mentioning it and me hosting lives about talking about predatory behavior on the left, like it gave them the strength to come forward, at least among trusted people. So this is far and wide, because I would say that my community does not touch the Harry community at all. So the fact that there was an overlap, I would believe there's probably many, many, many more women. Yeah, I do want to say a shameless plug, y'all. Please follow me. I do host lives every day from 4 to 7. I'm not usually on in the evening. I do foster cats, so that's where the monies go to, like the gifts monies. The pay links in my bio. I also have an Etsy shop, etc. Today we do every Tuesday we do a charity that we donate 50% of everything that comes in, and the one today is very important. It's for Alexis Joy, I believe. My brain is fried at this point. Is that right, y'all?
Yeah.
Okay. And it started because it was a woman who suffered from postpartum depression and took her life, unfortunately. And so it's an organization that helps families, whether they're dealing with postpartum depression, finding resources and things like that. So that is the charity that we're working on today. So if anyone has it in their heart to donate, the pay links are in my bio, as well as 50% of the gifts and all that stuff is going to go there. So that's my shameless plug. Kristen, Irish, anyone have anything else to say? We are going to be rating Erica, who is a delightful Black woman creator who has a co-host who's also a lovely, just delightful co-host, and I usually jump on the panel with them. So that's who we'll be rating. So please make sure to follow Erica_Shante.
I was just going to say that if Chris is still in here, I am going live literally in 2 minutes. Chris, you're more than welcome to join
Not
that
you
live.
poaching my people.
Okay, I won't.
I'm
I
sorry.
will not go live.
Irish is never going to talk to me again. It's okay. It's fine.
Chris, you have the right to DM me. I'll give you a half hour and then I'll go live after.
Also, last thing, I want to genuinely thank Elena for holding this live. I know a lot of work goes into holding lives. I had no idea how much. And then Irish was constantly like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I was like,
he's a little more intense about it. I'm kind of very go with the flow. Like,
yeah, I feel like I sent him like 20 million files of just like whatever he needed. So I know a lot of work goes into these lives regardless. So like genuinely thank you so much for having Carly and I. It means a lot. I think I can speak for Carly too. Like to the both of us, it means the actual world for real.
Shameless plug for Mac down there. Mac is Irish's management, basically. So if you want to follow a female creator that does a lot of Irish's biddings, whatever. Mac, I forgot to shout you out earlier. Also, please, guys, join the Discord. Alina and the Goons, plus the Loves, the Cunts. Yeah, we've got a big community. It's very fun. We play games. We hold a lot of organizational kind of things and crowdfunding. Please donate to the kittens and the Etsy shop. In my pay link,
I can show you guys Mao, our community cat, Chairman Mao.
Oh my God. Yes, the Chairman Mao.
Master fail.
Discord link. Our Discord channel is very fun. If you go to my pay links, I support the House Rabbit Resource Network. So if you guys like bunnies as well, we're going to be doing something, I think, for Easter, hopefully.
Yes.
Sarah, Carly, I did follow both of you. If you ever need anything, I'm always here for you. My partner's also a sexual response coordinator or sexual assault response coordinator. So if you or anyone in the chat has questions, like come to me in Thicklist, we're happy to support. But yeah, continue to come to Alina's live. She's on like every day around 3 p.m. EST. And we are fucking cruel to dumb white men. Like, so if you just need some therapy and some intellectual cannibalism and some woman on man violence that way, please return.
See this
Dumb white man, that is my cue.
Yeah, this is the most a man has ever talked on a live. I think that's why the crowd was getting restless. But thank you everyone for being here. Again, we're rating Erica_Shante. I know Carly and Sarah, I don't know if you're going to be like probably hosting your own lives, but I would love it if you could at least come through and give them a follow and just see what they're about. Because I think it's a very good space, and it's definitely different because it is, Black women creators. You'll tell the vibe is very different. And I think it's so important as creators ourselves to enter these different spaces and see how like some of the same ops will interact differently with different hosts. And it just further highlights the racism, the misogyny, all of that. So thank you, ladies. I'll definitely be making sure to follow you. I want to stay in touch. I want to know all the deets of what happens next.
Grand old party. So once again, I asked you, what is your point? I'm really trying to get to know your point. Like I said, we can talk about what people say back and forth all day. But like I asked you, when Kamala Harris was the right-hand man to the most powerful man on the planet, essentially Joe Biden, as vice president, did she push or advocate for the abolishment of ICE?
I mean, she pushed and advocated for all these illegals. Pouring in over there.
No, grand old party. Stop. Answer that question.
I mean, she was in charge of the border, man.
Answer the question. Did she advocate or did she push for the abolishment of ICE?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you have to show me some type of documentation. Go ahead, Naquan.
Okay, go ahead, Naquan.
Motivation for the use of fear and force.
It's based on race and ethnicity.
Right. Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
Officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm very specific about what I'm asking you. Are you aware of a perception that the way that the discretion
I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
I'm not finished. Are you aware that there's a perception
We could have had her, yeah.
that ICE is administering its power in a way that is causing fear and intimidation, particularly among immigrants, and specifically among immigrants coming from Mexico and Central America? Are you aware of that perception?
So you get the idea.
He said it. She didn't say that.
She didn't compare
He
it to
said that,
them.
and she said, "No, that's not what I'm saying."
She asked them, do he understand the perception that is given to people? People were comparing them to the KKK. Yes.
Triple K.
To the Triple K. Yes. She never compared them. She asked him, do he understand the perception that they are getting? So again, you are wrong. Do you really want to keep digging this rabbit hole?
Yes, sir.
Because I can pull out facts after facts after facts after
Let's
facts.
get it.
I do this shit for fun.
Me too, sir. I love it.
Is this a kink for you,
Right.
Grand Old Party?
Okay.
Like,
So Grand Old Party,
Do you
I
like
want you
being
to really
degraded?
think.
I can't hear both of you.
Go ahead, Duchess, because I think that's a
No,
good
no,
question.
I'm seriously. Are you trying to do you like being degraded? Do you like when people call you out your name? Do you like when people show you that you're wrong? Like, does that make you feel like kinky? Do you get a sexual drive off of that?
Other people's opinion don't make me feel, here nor there. I'm just talking.
So why do you want to continuously put yourself in a hole and position where people have to continuously prove that you're wrong?
Well, I don't feel as though that's what's happening. So maybe
You just quite literally said it to us. You just told us.
Yeah,
Okay, Grand Old Party.
I'm just saying whatever y'all allow me to say. Anytime I say anything else, y'all mute me.
No, we haven't. You've probably only been muted once, maybe twice by Naquan because he was speaking. But I just want you to know that opinion is like, I feel like, or I think that. A fact is what actually happened. You said that Kamala Harris compared ICE to the Triple K. You said she was in court when she was a senator. Naquan pulled up the video. She did not say that.
He did play about 40
so that would be a
seconds of
fact.
20-minute video.
So that would mean that what you said was inaccurate. It wasn't an opinion. It was wrong.
He played
it was inaccurate. What Naquan played was a fact that not only did she not say it, he asked her and she said, "That is not what I said."
That was
it never
excellent, ma'am. That was like a 20-minute conversation. He
It
decided
was
to
more
play.
than a.
Hold on. He said, "Are you trying to compare us to the Triple K?" That is what came out the bald-headed guy's mouth.
Well, can you tell me
Triple
what I
K
said
never
before then?
came out of her mouth. She said,
But
"No,
you never
that's
seen
not
the
what."
video, ma'am.
She said, "That's not what I'm saying."
Yeah, but you never seen the video. How could you say she didn't say it?
We literally just all watched it together, Grand Old Party.
Ma'am, what if I was to tell you that's a 20-minute video?
I can play the
Okay,
beginning.
hold on. Hold on. No. Grand Old Party, do you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
the clip? Do you have the clip where you claim that she said, "I'm comparing you to the Triple K"?
To be completely honest, I'm on my phone.
Yeah, do you
and
have
that's
that?
what
Yeah,
I'm
just play. You don't have to play
How
the
do I
20-minute
play?
video.
Tell
If you
me
know
how I do it.
if you don't have to play the 20-minute video, if you know which timestamp that she said, "I'm comparing you to the Triple K," play it.
Didn't tell you, I will. What? Was he on YouTube?
Yes.
All right, don't keep
No,
me off.
wherever no. Wherever you saw it at.
All right,
I want you
got
to pull up where you saw it at and play it for all of us to hear.
All right, so what if I tell you the time I see it and you play it? Because, ma'am, I'm on my phone. I don't know how
Okay,
to
that's
play
fine.
shit.
That's fine. That's
Okay,
fine. That's
okay.
fine. That's fine.
All right, so you
Give
can
us
either
the
just wait a
timestamp and
minute or drop me down, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
and
we'll
I'm gonna
wait. We'll
find
wait.
that.
We'll wait on you. We'll wait
Alright,
on
cool.
you, Grand Old Party. No
Cool.
problem. While we wait, you guys, give me a follow if you have not done so. Continue to tap the screen. We have 232 people in here, so I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes because we can definitely get to 100K. All my people here over here on YouTube, I have not forgot about you. If you guys have a computer and you guys can go sit it in the YouTube